The first time my sister Olivia pressed a scalding curling iron into my spine, I was 12 years old. The scream that tore from my throat was so raw, so primal, that our neighbors dialed 911 thinking someone was being murdered. In a way, someone was. The innocent part of me died that day, replaced by something harder, something that would lie dormant for 14 years before finally awakening. My mother, cigarette dangling from her lips, told the officers I was having a dramatic episode because I couldn't go to a sleepover. They left. The scar didn't. It still snakes across my back like frozen lightning, a permanent reminder that sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones holding the weapon. My name is Kelsey, and this is the story of how I turned my sister's cruelty into her downfall, my mother's betrayal into her destruction, and my pain into something powerful enough to save others. Olivia wasn't just my older sister. She was the family deity. Homecoming queen with platinum hair and eyes like Arctic ice. She moved through our house like she owned it. Which, according to everyone, she did. Mom called her my masterpiece. Dad called her princess. They called me. Well, when they remembered I existed, it was usually to blame me for something Olivia had done. At 14, when Olivia hurled a dining chair at my head and chipped my front tooth, Mom's response was delivered with the casual cruelty of someone commenting on the weather. Well, you do talk back a lot. Dad just shook his head at me, disappointed that I hadn't been quick enough to duck. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the night that would change everything. I was 26 when I had to return home for one weekend. My landlord was fumigating, and my bank account couldn't stretch to cover a hotel. I hadn't stepped foot in that house since I'd fled at 19, blood still dripping from where Olivia had slammed my head into the bathroom mirror over stolen shampoo. I packed light, kept quiet, and tried to be invisible. It worked for exactly 36 hours. Sunday night, I was in the laundry room pressing my only decent work shirt when Olivia stumbled in, wine-drunk and looking for a fight. Her eyes locked onto the iron in my hands like a predator spotting prey. "Did I give you permission to touch my iron?" she slurred. "It's Mom's." Wrong answer. Her smile could have cut glass. "Everything in this house is mine. Including you." The next few seconds moved in slow motion. She yanked the cord, grabbed the iron, and before I could even process what was happening, she pressed the scorching metal against my forearm. The hiss of burning skin, the smell of my own flesh cooking, the agony that shot through every nerve. It was hell condensed into a single moment. I collapsed, clutching my arm as blisters began forming. She stood over me, triumphant, like a gladiator who'd just delivered a killing blow. Mom appeared in the doorway, and for one desperate second I thought, maybe finally. "She attacked me," Olivia said smoothly, her voice suddenly sober and rehearsed. "I was just defending myself." Mom looked at me, writhing on the floor with my arm on fire, then back at Olivia. Her mouth twisted into something that might have been a smile. "That's what trash gets for existing. You deserve worse." In that moment, something inside me didn't just break. Crystallized, hardened, became something sharper than pain and colder than hate. I didn't run to the ER. I went to a pharmacy, paid cash for gauze and bandages, and wrapped my arm in silence. I didn't call the police. Mom had connections, and Dad played poker with the chief every Friday. Instead, I drove to my friend Rachel's house, the only person who'd witnessed enough of Olivia's cruelty to believe me. When Rachel saw the burn, her face went white. "Jesus, Kelsey, what happened?" "I need your help," I said, my voice steady despite the fire still coursing through my arm. "Not to fix it. To flip it." Over the next 3 days we built my arsenal. Screenshots of Olivia's texts bragging about slapping the loser straight. A voicemail from Mom laughing about how I bruise like a peach. So easy to get under her skin. Photos I'd been secretly taking for years. Bruises, bite marks, scars, all time-stamped and documented. But evidence wasn't enough. I needed to destroy them from the inside out. Olivia worked at Preston and Associates, an elite PR firm that handled million-dollar campaigns. She'd gotten the job not through talent, but because Mom had blackmailed the CEO's wife during a school board scandal 5 years earlier. I had proof. Mom had drunkenly bragged about it in a group chat. I created a fake identity, complete with burner phone and borrowed address. Posed as a potential client seeking reputation management services. Specifically requested Olivia, praising her boldness and professionalism. The meeting was scheduled for the following Thursday. Olivia walked into that conference room like she owned the world. Sleek ponytail, designer suit, practiced smile. She didn't recognize me under the wig and glasses. For 20 minutes, we discussed my project. Then I handed her an envelope. "What's this?" she asked, still playing the part of the consummate professional. "Proof of who you really are when the cameras stop rolling." She laughed until she opened it. Photos of my scars. Screenshots of her threats. Audio transcripts of her bragging about hurting me. I watched her composure shatter like glass hitting concrete. "Listen, I don't know who you think you are, but," she started, rising from her chair. "I'm the girl you branded," I whispered. "And now I'm returning the heat." She lunged across the table. I pressed a button on my phone. Her boss's assistant, strategically seated at the cafe behind her with a perfect view through the glass conference room, had been recording everything. By morning, Olivia was unemployed. The company released a statement about ongoing behavioral investigations. Her pristine reputation crumbled overnight. Mom lived for two things: her image at St. Catherine's Church and the annual charity gala she organized each spring. That gala was her masterpiece. Press coverage, photo ops, interviews where she played the role of devoted mother and community pillar. I bought a ticket, wore my best dress, smiled for the cameras, and waited. The moment came during Mom's speech about family values and moral parenting. As the crowd applauded her for being Mother of the Year, I approached the podium with a USB drive. "This was submitted anonymously," I told the host. A young woman wanted to share her story about family truth. The slideshow began. Photos of my scars. Audio of Olivia mocking me. Video of Mom calling me a born mistake. The gasps started small, then grew into horrified silence. Mom froze mid-sentence, her practiced smile cracking. I leaned close to the microphone. "That's what trash gets for existing, right, Mom? Enjoy the applause." Ran. By morning, every sponsor had pulled out. The church board requested her resignation. Her perfect world imploded in real time. Olivia tried to fight back online, posting tearful videos claiming I was mentally unstable and jealous. But the internet had already turned. The evidence spoke louder than her lies. Comments flooded in. "You burned your sister and then cried because she healed louder than your screams. She built something. You built scars." Her followers vanished. Brands cut ties. Her landlord, who happened to be an old friend of mine, evicted her. Within 2 weeks, both Mom and Olivia were jobless, homeless, and desperate. 3 weeks later, they tried one last desperate move, suing me for defamation. The same woman who'd called me trash, who'd laughed when I was burned, was now claiming I'd damaged her character. They couldn't afford real lawyers anymore. I walked into that courtroom in a sharp black suit, calm and prepared. They stumbled in looking like ghosts. Mom clutching fake pearls, Olivia hiding behind oversized sunglasses. The judge reviewed my evidence. Audio recordings, hospital bills I'd paid myself, screenshots of threats. When he dismissed their case as frivolous, calling it an attempt to silence the victim, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years: justice. But winning wasn't enough. I didn't want to just destroy them. I wanted to build something they could never touch. I launched the Burn Back Project, a non-profit providing free therapy, housing resources, and legal aid for victims of family abuse. Specifically those hurt by sisters, mothers, aunts, the kind of abuse wrapped in holiday cards and fake smiles. My first interview aired 6 weeks later. I kept my identity anonymous, but the story was unmistakable. It started with an iron, but the real fire was inside me all along. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of women wrote in. Some knew Olivia. Others had survived mothers like mine. The program grew from a single office to a nationwide network. Olivia called me once, months later. Her voice was hollow, broken. "I lost everything," she whispered. "No," I replied. "You lost everyone. There's a difference." I was just angry. I was just burned, I finished. "Yes, you were. But so was I." Hung up. I didn't need her apology or her excuses. I was my own closure. Today, I'm mentoring a teenager named Maya who has burn scars from her stepfather. As I watch her grow stronger, more confident, I realize something profound. They tried to burn me alive, but I didn't just survive. I became fireproof. And I turned their ashes into something they could never destroy. Something real, something lasting, something that saves others from the flames I once endured. The scar on my arm has faded, but it's still there. Not as a mark of what they did to me, but as a reminder of what I became because of it. They wanted to brand me as worthless. Instead, they forged me into something unbreakable. The iron is cold now. But I am fire itself.